Proof of life. Death comes in threes. The year was 1977. My Aunt Ling Ling, as we called her, was the most outgoing, genuine, direct, easygoing, gregarious extrovert in our family. She was the life of the party, friendly to a fault, open, lively, and loved. In 1977, she came back home after grocery shopping, an area called Niles, Ohio, on the river by Youngstown. She came home from grocery shopping again in 1977, and her husband, Marty Angus, shot her dead in the driveway and then shot himself, while their two children watched. Can you imagine? Two small children, Marty and Misty, watch their father murder their mother in cold blood right there in the driveway of their home. What more is there to say? Except for my favorite Aunt Linda was gone. Soon after Aunt Ling Ling was murdered, her mother, which would be my grandma, died. And not long after that, our great-grandma, Oliver, died. That's when we learned that bad luck and death comes in threes. A lot of water has passed under the bridge since then. 7 months ago, my Uncle Amo and Aunt Melody died in a horrific car crash in New York. Aunt Melody and Uncle Amo, they had adopted Marty and Misty after their dad murdered their mother. Yes, my Aunt Melody, who had no children of her own, she took in her sister's children, Marty and Misty, adopted them and raised them as her own. And sadly, today I was tragically reminded that death comes in threes. Misty, who was my cousin, called me with the bad news that Marty had died. It was the same type of telephone call that I got 7 months ago after the crash. Unanswered questions in my mind because my Uncle Amo was a fantastic driver, a very great driver. How that could have happened, how the horrific car crash could have happened. It left unanswered questions in my mind. And the same thing with Marty now. I find out that Marty is dead, and he was on some sort of investigation. Apparently, one of his good friends in Oklahoma had come up missing, and he was investigating her death. Dateline even aired a segment on the case. Her name was Talina Galloway. She was good friends with my cousin Marty, and he wanted to know what had happened. From what I can ascertain, Talina Galloway is still missing, but the police have gathered some evidence, and they arrested Talina's roommate. Her name is Corey Bomelli. That's her on the right. Now, she was arrested and booked, but from what I can figure out, she was released, maybe out on bond, but she was temporarily released at some point. That's when I find out that my cousin Marty Angus arranged to have a meeting with her. He was trying to gather information. He wanted his friend back. He needed closure, and he was going to get it, even if he had to have a meeting with the alleged killer herself, Bomelli. Now, word on the street is that Bomelli has poisoned other people. I do not know the validity of that rumor, but it worries me that Talina may not have been her only victim. And if my cousin Marty had a meeting with her and he was not aware of her homicidal tendencies, well, he could have put himself in danger. But he was looking for evidence or anything that could lead him to where Talina was. Now, according to the sheriff's office here, they have found some evidence that Bomelli might have been lying to the investigators, and it says here that there was what's believed to be blood in the garage in the bedroom of the home that Bomelli shared with Galloway. Now, my cousin Marty, he just wanted answers. And who could blame him? Now, I'm assuming that Wagner, Oklahoma is a small town, everybody knows each other, and it was not hard for cousin Marty to set up a secret meeting with Bomelli. But did she poison him in some way? Or only an autopsy will know for sure. There is an autopsy as we speak. Now, Marty was identified as a genius in grade school. After his dad murdered his mom, well, life was not so easy for Marty. But somehow he forced himself to persevere, work hard, and study, and he got himself into a prestigious elite college that was set up for the privileged. A Jesuit university, where the politicians send their children, the privileged. But Marty's demons were always there, lingering in the darkness. The monkeys on his back, they never did let go. He carried them in silence, trying to be, strong, silent, tough type, like the old golden age Hollywood He-Man. He kept it all inside, and those demons were always there. Yes, he suffered in silence and carried the pain to the very end. Marty could tell yarns like no one else I knew, possibly a coping mechanism to keep the demons at bay. And now those monkeys that were on his back, well, they will need to find new shoulders to latch onto and torment. But unfortunately, the story does not end there. When Marty Angus found out that her brother had died, she tried to call my mom because my mom was the oldest of the siblings. Even though my mom was Misty and Marty's aunt, my mom was more like a grandma to them. My mom was important to Misty and Marty, so it was just logical that Misty would try to reach out to my mom and tell her the bad news. But apparently my mom is now missing. No one has talked to her or seen her in months. You probably remember the video I did not long ago called The 5-Day Hold, where I spilled the beans on my dysfunctional family. In that video, I described how I tried to get a hold of my mother on Mother's Day, but my brother had taken away her phone. I could not get a hold of them, and he put me on hold for 5 days. When he finally did reach out to me, he said that Mom was fine, everything's okay here. But now I find out, Misty tells me that he has moved out of his house, and there's no sign of any of them. No sign of anybody. That's why I'm saying or asking for proof of life. If anybody out there knows my mother or knows Marty Angus or knows anything about this story, if they can reach out to my brother and say, hey, we need proof of life, especially at a time like this. Let me try to wrap my head around this. So my mom is now missing. No one has seen or heard from her in months. Her phone has been shut off. My brother says she's living with him, but my brother has moved out of his house and has disappeared. Along with him disappearing, my mother has disappeared. My cousin Marty has died in a suspicious manner that we don't know how, what, or why. And his sister Misty is not able to call my mom, which is like a grandmother to her, to mourn her loss and just basically get things off your chest. That's what family is supposed to be there for, to get things off your chest, to talk it out, so you don't have to suffer inside, so you do not have to suffer alone.
The search continues tonight for a missing Wagner woman. Close friends tell us they're desperate for details after 2 months of silence. Channel 8's Ethan Hutchins live tonight outside the Wagner County Courthouse after speaking with law enforcement. Ethan.
Yeah, Mark, Marty Angus considers Talina Galloway family, which is why he's so torn up about her missing persons case, a case that authorities have released a few details on.
We need to know where she's at, why she's there.
More than anything, Marty Angus just wants answers.
And we just need her to come back home.
Some kind of reassurance that his dear friend Talina Galloway is still alive. The Wagner County widow has been missing since April 7th.
Nobody's seen her. Nobody's heard from her.
Angus has known Galloway and her late husband, Tom, for 20 years. He says the four were inseparable, but now he's living in a world where they're both gone and is worried about what's happened to her.
You know, it's just absolutely not like her, you know. She wouldn't do this to the people that she loves.
It may be nearly 2 months since her disappearance, but Wagner County Sheriff Chris Elliott still considers this a missing persons case.
I personally don't believe that. I don't think that that's the case. We need some sort of closure. We need something. And whatever that is, we need that. Because without it, there's just this huge hole